Welcome back. In today's explainer, we're looking at something absolutely fascinating: how mechanical engineer Sonam Wangchuk literally re-engineered an entire failing education system right in the remote heights of the Himalayas. So let's just dive right into it. To really grasp the sheer scale of his impact, we've got to start with one staggering number: 95%. Back in the late 1980s and early 90s, a completely abysmal 95% of Ladakhi students were failing their 10th grade board exams. I mean, imagine a system where almost every single student sitting in a classroom is basically told, "You're a failure." Section 1. A staggering failure rate: the systemic collapse. Diagnosing a collapse on that scale? Well, that required an engineer's mindset. Now, Wangchuk himself didn't actually attend formal school until he was 9 years old. Before that, his mother taught him entirely in his native tongue. By 1987, he graduated with a degree in mechanical engineering. But during that winter, just to pay for college, he started tutoring kids who had failed those notorious board exams. And that is when a massive light bulb went off. He realized these students actually understood complex concepts perfectly. They weren't incapable, they were just trapped in a completely unfamiliar system. Section 2. The root cause: alien classrooms. He found that the very environments meant to nurture these children were frankly alien to their lived reality. The sheer absurdity of the disconnect is just staggering when you think about it. You've got kids living in the high-altitude trans-Himalayan desert, right? Yet they were being forced to learn in Urdu and English, languages they literally never spoke at home. Their textbooks were teaching them about elephants, monsoons, and sugarcane. They were being tested on a world they had absolutely never seen, instead of the snow leopards, the glaciers, and the barley fields that they interacted with every single day. The system wasn't educating them, it was actively alienating them. And this led Wangchuk to a really profound realization. He said, "One morning in 1990, I felt we would be doing the same thing 50 years from now unless we got to the root of the problem. Our efforts so far had been charity. Now we wanted to reform the system." He knew that tutoring dropouts was just slapping a band-aid on a gaping wound. To actually save future generations, he couldn't just help kids pass a fundamentally broken test. He had to completely, from the ground up, overhaul the educational machinery. Section 3. Education Engineering, the SECM movement. So instead of taking a comfortable, lucrative engineering job, Wangchuk headed straight back to Ladakh to build a brand new kind of foundation. He, along with a group of peers, co-founded SECMAL, that's the Students' Educational and Cultural Movement of Ladakh. Established in 1988, this was designed as an alternative school specifically aimed at helping that massive population of so-called dropouts. The whole goal? To rebuild their shattered confidence and equip them with actual, contextualized life skills. But they didn't just change the books. They completely transformed the entire learning environment. They focused on rebuilding confidence through hands-on, practical learning that actually used local knowledge systems. In fact, the campus itself basically became the textbook. They designed an entirely solar-powered, rammed earth campus that stays warm during those freezing Himalayan winters without using any fossil fuels. And the best part? The students actively run the school. They are literally living the science and engineering they're learning every single day. Section 4. Scaling up Operation New Hope. Now, by 1994, Wangchuk knew he had to scale this success across the region. So, through an initiative called Operation New Hope, he partnered directly with the government and local communities. Together, they ripped out that old alien curriculum. They finally localized the textbooks to feature actual Ladakhi realities. They also made sure to introduce English early on to prepare kids for higher education. And, crucially, they established village education committees. This gave parents and local leaders a real active voice in how their community schools were being run. And to ensure this structural fix actually held together long-term, the movement trained over 700 teachers and 1,000 community leaders. They completely threw out rote memorization and replaced it with child-friendly, activity-based education. Really, they re-engineered the human element of the system just as much as the curriculum itself. And honestly, the results totally speak for themselves. By fixing the environment to actually fit the student rather than forcing the student to fit a broken environment, the 10th grade pass rate skyrocketed. It went from that dismal 5% back in the late 1980s to an absolutely incredible 75% by 2015. So he didn't just fix a school, he quite literally saved a generation's future. Section 5. Classrooms to Climate Scaling Solutions. But here is where the story gets even bigger. You see, once you teach students how to solve problems based on their actual local reality, those innovations, they don't just stop at the classroom door. Wangchuk proved a truly fascinating premise. He showed that constraints like distance, cold, and scarcity can actually become the basis for practical, lasting solutions. He proved that when you use a localized engineering mindset, extreme constraints like having zero water, no fuel, and dealing with sub-zero temperatures, well, they can actually become your greatest assets for innovation. It's this exact philosophy that birthed some world-renowned engineering marvels. Take 2013, for example. He prototyped the Ice Stupa. These are cone-shaped artificial glaciers that store up to 30 million liters of wasted winter meltwater. Then they slowly release it to irrigate crops during the bone-dry spring months. It's brilliant. He also designed solar-heated military tents that keep soldiers at a comfortable plus 15 degrees Celsius inside, even when it's minus 14 outside, and they do it using absolutely zero fuel. And of course, he founded HiAL, an alternative mountain university, just to continue training the youth in these highly sustainable, localized skills. So as we wrap up today's explainer, Wangchuk's incredible journey leaves us with one really powerful, lingering question to think about. If your education was tailored exactly to the world around you, rather than some standardized template, what impossible problems would you be able to solve?